And the Diamondbacks. It's opening weekend for Fox Saturday Baseball.
It is time again for Fox Saturday Baseball here in Phoenix, Arizona, presented by Chevrolet. Battle of division rivals here in Chase Field to debut Fox Saturday Baseball in 2012, the San Francisco Giants and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Hello there, folks. Welcome back to the ballpark. My name is Darren Sutton. This truly is an early season battle of division rivals, and we're going to bring in a man who knows a lot about this rivalry because he played in it. The one thing you knew about Eric Burns is that for his career of more than a decade, he was always prepared, and he never, ever left anything on the field. He joins us today in the booth to help us understand the game and to help us understand this rivalry. Hello there, Mr. Burns. Good to have you back with us. And, folks, obviously for you, opening day was such a thrill, and maybe a little bit of a letdown today, the day after opening day. Is there a letdown for you?
Darren Sutton, a letdown. This was my favorite day of the year. Finally, no more hoopla. All the extracurricular activities are gone. It's all about baseball. Baseball players are routine-oriented. They can get back to their routines today and just play the game. Season starts now.
I'll be honest, my favorite day of the day is day 2 as well. 50 years the Giants waited to win a World Series title, a little bit even more than that. A couple of years back, they won that title. They celebrated the entire next year while the Diamondbacks were busy winning the division. They both want to play in October. Here in April, they will go toe-to-toe, and it already means a lot. Welcome back here in downtown Phoenix, Arizona, the opening weekend of Fox Saturday Baseball here in the year 2012. A beautiful day outdoors, roof open. The only way to enjoy baseball, certainly that will change in the months of July and August in Phoenix, Arizona. Look at today's starting lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell, reminding you to think outside the bun. Melky Cabrera really the difference in that order. He homered last night, provided a double. Those two at the top will get busy, of course. The pop is back in the middle with Sandoval and Posey. Brandon Crawford, they hope he can hit as well as he can play short. The man on the mound, his name is Daniel Hudson. He's still just 25 years old, coming of age. Came over a couple of summers back from the Chicago White Sox. Very good numbers. One of the co-aces for Kirk Gibson and the Diamondbacks. Let's take a look at his scouting report. Eric Burns, dial us in, please.
Darren, he's got a great, lively fastball, late life to it. A lot of ride is like I like to call it. A deceptive changeup. He will throw that changeup to both left-handed and right-handed hitters. The first inning for me is going to be key. Over a 6 ERA in the first inning in 2011, Darren.
This opening pitch is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And we've been waiting, and we're glad to be here now. Hudson has his defense ready to go behind him with Ryan Roberts at third on the cut of the grass. Fox Saturday baseball here in Phoenix is underway. The first pitch is a fastball that misses outside to Angel Pagan. Season ago hit .262, did that in New York, was brought on in an offseason trade. 32 stolen bases. And we can expect a different Bruce Bochy offensive attack with regard to these top two guys.
Darren, Angel Pagan struggled a little bit in spring training, hitting 171 in 22 games, but he is a career .279 hitter. A guy with a track record, you got to expect him to get right back on par here.
Good fastball, nips the inside. 1-2 the count. A pitcher that believes in his fastball can go a game and really only go fastball changeup, but needs at least to show the slider. Bouncing ball, Aaron Hill right at his knees. 1 out in the inning. Angel Pagan is erased. Scotts brings you the defense, and of course the defensive alignment with the infield of Roberts, McDonald, Hill, Goldschmidt, Kubel, Young, Upton in the outfield behind them. Miguel Montero caught more innings than anyone in Major League Baseball last year. Our Scotts defensive alignment. A .300 season, really a breakout season last year for Melky Cabrera in Kansas City.
Say the least, Darren. 305, 44 doubles, 18 homers, 87 driven in, 201 hits to go along with his 20 stolen bases. A lot of people were wondering if that year was an aberration or 2010 when he was with the Braves and didn't quite put up near those numbers.
Well, Bruce Bochy told us before the game, I know he told you clearly, he thinks the release from the Braves woke him up.
Yeah, it's going to do that. Everyone in this game, it's going to be humbled at some point. And the guys who have success continually, really, they've been humbled several times through the course of their career. And
this, of course, last night is the confident player, not the humbled one in the 5th inning, up and over the wall with the bounce. First homer as a Giant, had a couple of hits last night.
It was buggy with that fastball.
1-2 the count. Through the breaking ball. There's the first look at the Daniel Hudson breaking ball. I guess at least he's got to show it.
Really just a two-pitch pitcher. Those are his, the changeup is what he relies on when you talk about the off-speed stuff.
On the ground again, and again an easy change for Hill. Cabrera fell down in the box. So you hope he's all right. It looks like he is as he walks away from home plate. Let's see what happens.
Third baseman, number 48.
It's a slip there, Eric.
They really like to wet that home plate area, and early on in the game, it's slippery.
But in the batter's box, as Pablo Sandoval gets ready to go, there's a little clay under that wet dirt, right? Something to sink your spikes into.
Yeah, when I used to play here, Brandon Webb was on the mound. It used to be a little extra clay as well.
All right, I like that. Sandoval gets that clay out front of the box, that tradition where he heads out and gets comfortable, goes through a little bit of a tap dance before the slugging switch hitter goes to work. Swing and a miss. Well, that was more than an average breaking ball there. A hammer down and in. No balls and 2 strikes the count. He has owned the Diamondbacks. He has. Aubrey Huff has had a great career against Arizona, but no one better. Fastball in on his hands. Montero a long run. Bruce Bochy. If anyone knows the National League West, it's this man. Nearly 3,000 games as a manager in the National League West alone. San Diego and San Francisco. course, across the diamond, the new kid on the block that he deals with, the man who deals with Bochy with a lot of respect, is Kirk Gibson. Kind of turned this operation around.
He's a nut job, and I say that in an endearing way, as endearing as it could possibly be. I had an opportunity to have him as my bench coach when I was here, and just one of the ultimate competitors.
Swing and a miss over the top. Well, he could be a two-pitch pitcher. Why would you be when you've got a slider like that? Roberts moved up to the top because he walks a lot. Chris Young, early offense to start the season. Daniel Hudson could hit 7th in this lineup. With all due respect to the other guys, the best hitting pitcher in all of Major League Baseball, facing, again, a 22-year-old left-hander, a 13-game winner a year ago in Madison Bumgarner. Again, 33 starts with a sparkling ERA last year, 3.21. A big part of his club winning the 2010 World Series when he was only 20 years old. Ryan Roberts leads it off. Tell us a little bit more.
He's a legit 4-pitch pitcher. Fastball, cutter, change, and a curve. He's a strike throwing machine. Just 50 walks last year and over 200 innings. And 22 years old, Darren, he's still a pup.
Bochy, it's funny, goes back to that as Robert fouls it off. He was sharing this morning with you over a cup of coffee that I'm still stunned how young he is.
He was 20 years old in 2010 when he had that 8-inning, 3-hit performance against the Texas Rangers.
A much more grizzled man in the batter's box on the other end of the spectrum. Looks at a pitch outside. Sent down, unwanted, having to beat out not a very talented Rule 5 pick a couple of years back, but here he is, the gritty and the determined Ryan Roberts. The well-tattooed Ryan Roberts as well. On the ground, ranging to his left is Sandoval in time for the out. Let's take a look at the San Francisco Giants defensive alignment, and it's brought to you by Scott with Angel Pagan. Maybe step back out there in center field. We'll watch him all year. Sandoval, Crawford, Ontario, and Belt. The star there, though, is Brandon Crawford. Defensively, Buster Posey is behind the plate. Here is Aaron Hill. Hill, along with John McDonald, acquired from Toronto last year for Kelly Johnson. An interesting trade because Johnson, a power hitter who was hitting about 200. Hill, a power hitter who was hitting about 200. Proved to be a good move for both.
Yeah, no doubt. Aaron Hill got here. He was hitting in the mid to low 200s, and all of a sudden gets to Arizona, 315 and 16 driven in the final 33 games last year.
Popped foul up and into the seats it goes. There have been huge power years for Hill. I mean, if you play for Toronto, you better swing for the fences, or so it seems. I mean, a couple of years back, homered 36 times. And then in 2010, 26 home runs.
Yeah, how about the 2009 year? 36 homers, 108 driven in.
Fastball, good two-strike pitch.
Pride of Visalia, California, Darren.
Which happens to be the single-A home of one of the Arizona Diamondback clubs. That wasn't planned, just so you know. Belted deep left field. Aaron Hill out of here. To start the season, 3 first-inning home runs for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Remember, they did this twice last night.
Aaron Hill got a fastball up, and he did not miss it. Trying to come inside, misses over the plate over the inner third. Aaron Hill turns, burns, and does what he's supposed to do. That's pretty.
Diamondbacks wearing their black jerseys. They only wear the black jerseys on Saturday, as those black jerseys were up over the top rail. We mentioned for Hill, homered only 8 times last season. That combines his work between Toronto and Arizona. Big numbers against southpaws, huh, folks? Do you see those power numbers? Best in the game. Yeah, Upton's a guy who has crushed left-handed pitching throughout his career. 1-1 the count. Good off speed. Change up there?
No change up, or maybe even a cut fastball. The one before was a cut fastball, about 88. That was 85. Really tough to tell. Everything that Madison Bumgarner throws kind of looks similar. He has great arm speed on each and every one of his pitches.
Upton right there in the MVP race a season ago. That's a curveball that missed high. Bumgarner takes a look down at that mound. 2-2 the count.
Fourth in the MVP race last year, Darren. I asked him why not number 1. He said always something to shoot for.
He hasn't had his breakout year yet. Last year was his first healthy year. He thinks he's got a long way to go defensively too, doesn't he?
You mentioned, I said, what are the things that you're working on this year? What do you hope to improve upon? And he said, my defense. And when Justin Upton first came on, with that 2017 that I was on, sure, he struggled defensively, but I feel like he's made all sorts of improvements over the years since then. But it's still something that he takes a lot of pride in.
Again, the funny thing about it is how young he is. Baseball fans have seen him for quite some time now, still just 24. Another good two-strike pitch, but Upton takes.
Yeah, this is a matchup we're going to see for a long time. Madison Bumgarner and Justin Upton, still 2 of the younger, more promising players in Major League Baseball.
And an at-bat that turns into a base runner. Justin Upton with a walk. Last season his on base was almost 370. I guess he better get used to that, correct?
Yeah, Miguel Montero, though, is a guy who had a huge season as well. And as long as you have Montero hitting behind him, 84 driven in, the most for any catcher in all of baseball last year.
Montero and the Diamondbacks tried to get together over the winter and in spring training and work out something long-term. Weren't able to do so. So this is the all-important walk year for Miguel Montero, as he, for the first time in his life, heads into free agency at the end of this season. 0-1 the count.
Well, not only is he a good offensive catcher, Darren, but he led the National League in throwing out runners 47.7% of the time.
To go along with those offensive numbers there, that makes him a well-rounded player. And that wasn't always the case with regard to his throwing. Montero, as a matter of fact, through the first 3 months of the season last year, had more errors than shortstops had. And that's not supposed to happen. He had 10 heading into late June, had just 1 from the end of June till the end of the season. Henry Blanco, a big part of it.
Yeah, Miguel Montero spoke about how influential Henry Blanco has been in his development as a catcher.
Spoils a pitch. Into the seats it goes. 1-2. The count. Our men in black today. Behind home plate, Jim Reynolds calling balls and strikes. DeMuro is out there at first. James Hoy. James is the second base umpire, and one of my favorite balls and strikes umpires is out at third, Jim Joyce, because he lets you know. You know if it's a strike. 1-2 the count, but it's Reynolds behind the plate today. Slow breaking ball, ground ball, base hit right field. Upton thinks about going first to third, but the speed of Cabrera, he got to that ball very quickly. Lefty on lefty, a base hit.
Yeah, Miguel Montero will hang in there against left-handers, and Madison Bumgarner's a tough one. A breaking ball gets out over the plate, and he just simply hits the hole. What I mean by that is the first baseman, by holding Justin Upton on first base, creates that hole over there. I always felt that as a right-handed hitter, we were disadvantaged because we didn't have the opportunity to hit the hole like lefties do, so it's an unfair game.
I gotcha. Never thought of it that way. But never walked in your shoes either. Inside, he's got a lot of run in to righties. That fastball is pretty lively for the young Bumgarner today.
And he loves to throw inside. Loves to throw inside. Fastballs, cutters. And as a right-handed hitter, I hated guys that love to come in.
Fouls that one right back to the screen.
The standard book on just about every good hitter in Major League Baseball is hard in, soft away.
Eric and I glad to have you with us here at Chase Field, where the Diamondbacks strike first. Aaron Hill, who 2-3 seasons ago combined to hit 62 home runs in a couple of campaigns, homered already. That one's belted center. On the move is Pagan. He's going back high off that center field wall. Upton's out front. They'll stop Montero. The Diamondbacks lead it 2-0. Now Kirk Gibson was saying that Chris Young isn't trying to pull everything anymore.
No, we had that conversation with Kirk Gibson earlier today. I also had another conversation with Chris Young. He had a monster spring, hitting 400 this spring, 5 homers and 65 at-bats. Chris Young has implemented the entire other side of the field, right of the 407 sign in center. It's opened up all sorts of things. He's a career .236 hitter, Darren. If he uses the other side of the field, Chris Young has the potential to actually hit for a much higher average.
It's interesting, that side swing there. Burns, he's seeing that. For the casual fan, Kirk Gibson goes on and on. You know, he keeps his bat in the zone a long time. He's flattened out his swing. You know, it's one thing to say it, Kirk Gibson, but for all of us, I know you understand it, Eric. For a lot of us, we don't. This is what he's talking about.
What he means by keeping the bat in the zone a long time, you can see it comes in early right here, and it just stays through, and it stays flat all the way until he gets that full extension. Now, Chris Young's a guy, when I was playing with him back in 2009, he actually was humbled. We talked about being humbled earlier in the game, but he got sent down, and this is after he had a huge year in 2007, a little bit of a letdown in 2008. I was playing with him in Reno. I was on a rehab assignment, and he was just playing in the minor leagues. At that point, we started playing a game where we would try to hit the ball to the opposite field and actually drive the ball that way, where we'd get 3 points for a Oppo Taco, a home run to the opposite field, 2 points for a home run to center, and 1 point to left. And ever since then, Chris Young, he said he's continued to work on that, as we spoke earlier today, and he feels like it's really helped him.
The dangerous Paul Goldschmidt. He hopes to not go back to the minor leagues like Chris Young had to do a couple of years ago. Eric, reminiscing about a young man who was humbled. Here's a pitcher who was humbled last night, Tim Lincecum. He's homered 3 times against him.
He struggled against the Diamondbacks. Big Paul Goldschmidt came into the game last night 5 for 9. against Lincecum with 2 homers and a double. And then last night gets him again.
So they intentionally decided just to put him on here.
Why would you pitch to him?
In the end. And go left-hander on left-hander Jason Kubel.
I was looking at the numbers yesterday for Goldschmidt there, and he was a minor league player of the year last year, hit 30 homers in Double-A Mobile, and then had 8 more for the Diamondbacks.
1-0 the count to Kubel. Signed as a free agent on a 2-year deal this winter, giving the Diamondbacks 4 talented outfielders. He's got his plate full now with Montero, Young, and Goldschmidt. One and one.
Little cut fastball right there. See the late movement away from the left-handed hitter.
And that's why we like having Burnsy in that seat. He actually explained what a cut fastball was. Sometimes I think we get guilty of just saying it over and over. I think he likes this situation. 1-2 the count. Elevated the fastball there. Kubel, much like Hill, sorry about that, is trying to refine that offense of a couple of years back.
Yeah, sure. A lot of people question the signing in the offseason just because you had Gerardo Parra, the Gold Glove Award winner, who played very solid for them last year.
Bouncing ball. A little in between flip. There is a double play, so a quick end to the inning. Now, that doesn't mean there weren't smiles in the dugout for the Diamondbacks already this season. A bunch to fire out. All-new Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway MPG. And by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of the MLB. The return of Buster Posey for the San Francisco Giants and their fans. Though he had at-bats in spring training, it felt real last night. Buster had a couple of hits, had a walk, and is back in the lineup the very next day. It was late May. It was a collision at home plate. The Florida Marlins, Scott Cousins, you hoped it wouldn't be a career-ending injury. And the best of all best news, really for baseball fans, it wasn't. As the slider misses away.
He is the heart and soul of this San Francisco Giants team, Darren. The offense revolves around him. The pitching staff relies upon him.
Fouled that one off to the screen. It goes. He's changed the Giants, simply put, offensively. You can see the numbers in comparison to all others since May of 2010. Buster Posey just, as you mentioned, turned this organization around offensively, and you got a guy that you can pencil in there at least 3/4 of the time as the catcher. 2-2 the count. Probably won't play tomorrow, though. 3 days in a row early in the season, right? Or maybe plays first?
Yeah, I think you're going to get a chance to see the young catcher Hector Sanchez, who had a huge spring, catch Barry Zito. Actually, we'll see him on Monday, and I think Posey probably will be in there again tomorrow.
Charging, fielding, firing, McDonald. The Rookie of the Year a couple of years back is erased. Time now for the Ford keys to the game.
Keys for the Giants score 4 more runs. 55-9 last year when they scored 4 runs. The ironic thing is they scored 4 runs last night and lost, though, Darren. For the Diamondbacks, let's get the ball over the plate. And you've seen them do that already with Madison Bumgarner, who loves to pitch inside. He made a mistake to Aaron Hill. Aaron Hill took advantage of it, and then Chris Young got an off-speed pitch and drilled it off the center field wall. Thus, we have the 2-0 Diamondbacks lead.
So they're doing what you're talking about. When it's on the plate, they're eating. Because when your mom tells you to clean your plate, you better do it. As the veteran Aubrey Huff bounces that one foul. A step back last year for Huff, hitting just .246, wasn't healthy. A near career year 2 years ago, though.
Was huge in that 2010 run. Aubrey Huff rededicated himself this offseason, and actually, to prove to the coaches and staff of the San Francisco Giants, sent phone pictures of himself without a shirt on to let these guys know what sort of work he was doing in the offseason and what kind of shape he was getting in.
All right. Whatever you have to do to convince your coaches. Strike 3. He throws him. He doesn't like that call in the inside corner at all.
That's because it's not the inside corner, Darren. That was inside off the plate.
First baseman number 9, Brandon Belt.
You can see why Aubrey Huff's not very happy now. A little late movement back towards the plate, but still not quite enough for me. I'm always going to take the hitter's side. You know that.
Fair enough. Certainly a pitcher's pitch. Never got the plate at all. That one is low. 1-0 the count to Brandon Belt. They've just committed to the Brandons. That's what we've been talking about. Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford. One will play first, this young man. The other will play short, batting in a couple of spots down. Out of the University of Texas, there's no questioning he has hit at every level. Horn on the ground. Goldschmidt to the bag. A 1-2-3 inning. 6 up, 6 down so far for Daniel Hudson. By Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And we move along to the bottom half of inning number 2. The one thing Madison Bumgarner and his pitching coach, Dave Righetti, who, by the way, we'll hear from in a few moments, is the pitch total. 32 pitches to get through that first inning. For a young man who went over the 200 inning mark last year, he hopes to tighten things up. He does have 8, 9, and 1 in the order. And 1-0 the count to the veteran Jason McDonald. McDonald came with Hill in that trade we told you about with Toronto last year. Good fastball.
John McDonald, Darren, is a 13-year veteran. Career .238 hitter, but he can flat out pick it. For you kids at home and you want to play Major League Baseball for an extended period of time, remember this: defense, defense, defense.
It's funny when you're a guy, as you mentioned, who isn't known for your bat and you continue to get jobs with organizations. Mainly in the American League. It's better to be a utility player in the National League. More opportunity for you. More changes made late in the game.
The bench players in the American League, you just leave the tennies on.
2-2 the count as that one dives low to McDonald. Went to Providence. McDonald did. Connecticut born and raised. Those career numbers, nothing gaudy at all. His glove is. Good cut fastball. My goodness, that's almost unfriendly. So now Daniel Hudson, who can hit.
Talked about getting Madison Bumgarner over the plate. That's not over the plate. That's one of the most difficult pitches in all of baseball for a right-hander to hit. A left-handed cut fastball coming in underneath his hands.
Hudson takes a pitch. There's that same one again. It's time for the Just for Men auto stop foolproof stat. I said he can hit. How about that number? The 1 Silver Sluggers in his trophy case. The best hitting pitcher in the National League last year. In there. Picked on a breaking ball. Used the big part of the ballpark. Hudson hit .277 with a .309 on base last year. 1 for 1 this year.
That used to bother me. I couldn't stand it. As an offensive player, when you're out there struggling, and then you watch a pitcher get up there and just shoot the ball the other way, no problem, making it look easy. There's guys on the bench, of course, are happy for Daniel Hudson, Darren, but at the same time, you're kind of thinking to yourself, no, I get paid for that. You're just supposed to pitch.
As we mentioned, he could hit a little bit higher in the order. Here is Ryan Roberts. So the numbers that we gave you a moment ago tell the truth. High fly ball into left center field. Ryan Roberts is erased. Let's go to Matt Vasgersian, and let's do it right now. Here's at the MLB studios for a DirecTV game break. Matty?
Darren, you're doing a great job keeping Bernsey calm, but we wanted to break away and show you this Miguel Cabrera bomb. Red Sox walked him 3 times on opening day, but he got him today. If you call yourself a sports fan, get DirecTV. 1-800-DirecTV. Darren, back to you guys.
Thank you, Matt. Matt Vasgersian joining us back east. A DirecTV game break.
Kind of figured he'd take a shot at me there, Darren.
Well, he did.
Not surprised at all.
And I'm hoping they'll get better as the game goes along. A conversation between these two. Hill, of course, the home run. And it was, I guess you'd categorize a no-doubter.
They tried to come inside, and they missed. Really, you see where Posey was, and that ball just stayed flat out over the plate. And Aaron Hill, back in 2009, 36 home runs. This is a guy that's not going to miss a pitch like that.
Oh, my goodness. Inside corner. 0-1 the count. So both Aubrey Huff and Aaron Hill have been served notice by Jim Reynolds. I'm calling the corners and then some.
And then some.
Way in there. 1-1 the count.
I like it. I like Madison Bumgarner coming right back inside. He tried to come inside. Aaron Hill got him for the long home run, but he's not shying away. He's going to make sure he doesn't miss out over the plate.
Stays high with the changeup, never got there. You might think if you're tuning in today, where's Matt Cain? Why isn't he the quote-unquote #2 starter? There's a reason for balancing it out. Cain will work tomorrow.
Cain will work tomorrow. They were worried about what was going on with Ryan Vogelsong. You were trying to get a little righty-lefty thing going with Lincecum and then Bumgarner, now Cain. Eric Surkamp, Darren, would have been the guy in the rotation had Vogelsong not been able to make his scheduled start. Now, he's going to miss his first one just because they have the off day.
Vogelsong.
Correct, okay. Vogelsong. Surkamp, though, is hurt himself.
He's a lefty, though.
Surkamp is a lefty.
So you would have had 3 lefties in a row. That's why they decided to break it up.
You're also going to have a couple guys that would probably tax your bullpen, potentially, with Zito and Surkamp going back-to-back.
Bill on it. They're coming in. They try to change up a couple of pitches to go up and away. They just didn't hit their spot. You could see what they were trying to do because he looks like he's ready for the fastball. Hill's home run, his first hit of the season. He was hitless in the opener with a pair of strikeouts.
Nice little cat and mouse game going on right here. Could be coming inside, maybe something soft away. Nope, back inside.
Sold him on a cut fastball. When you see 3 fingers, that's the cut fastball for folks at home.
And look at how much movement that ball has on it. That's 89 miles per hour. That started over the middle of the plate and ended up a good 6 to 8 inches inside.
You could almost categorize that as an electric or really hard slider as much as it moves. 3-2 fastball again, belted left field. Huff goes back, heading to the wall. He's out of room. The 4th multiple home run game in his major league career. And the score is Arizona 4, San Francisco 0.
We saw Buster Posey put the 1 down. Madison Bumgarner said, yeah, sure. They throw a fastball, not the cut fastball down, the four-seam fastball, try to come in, miss out over the plate, and Aaron Hill makes him pay for the 2nd time today.
Now, it bears mentioning right now that in more than 200 innings last year, Madison Bumgarner gave up 12 home runs all year. And if you're a casual fan, that's a ridiculously low total. You should be above 20 just based on the innings that you threw.
I was waiting for the changeup away right there. You got to figure it was going to come, but they continued to try to pound him inside.
He threw an ugly one early, remember, and then just, I guess, didn't believe it. You can't give up on a pitch like that, though. 1-0 the count. Upton. There's the pitch you were thinking about, something soft away. So Aaron Hill home runs number 1 and 2 in game number 2 of the season. Again, we will hear from Dave Righetti, the pitching coach for the Giants, in a moment. And he's got some work to do, the pitcher and the pitching coach. That man has support as he scored a run. It was Hudson's single with 1 out, and he was able to jog home. Bouncing ball, middle of the diamond, an effort on a backhand by Terrio, can't do it. Justin Upton reaches, he has walked, he has single. Upton has a couple of hits to start the year.
Well, it's 3-0 swing, and Justin Upton gets the ball out over the plate, shoots it right back up the middle. Madison Bumgarner looks like he tips it. Terrio comes over, knocks it down. Base hit.
You talk about the streaky Justin Upton he has been in his young career.
Very impressive 3-0 hat right there, man. You're going to swing 3-0.
Miguel Montero, fly ball left. is put away by Aubrey Huff. Aaron Hill with the long ball. We will return to Phoenix after a word from your local Fox station. Baseball presented by our good friends with Chevrolet. Here in Phoenix, Arizona, Eric Burns, Darren Sutton, and you. Thanks for joining us. Ryan Theriot to lead it off. Arizona, the Diamondbacks lead it early on 4-0.
Right before we went to break there, and I mentioned Justin Upton swinging at that 3-0 pitch. 5 for 8 on 3-0 counts last year. The Diamondbacks swung 40 times at 3-0 offerings in 2011. It's the second most in Major League Baseball.
It's a Kirk Gibson way. It's something that he implemented early and often. All right.
Does it surprise you?
So what's the key hitting 3-0 as many times as you stood in the box?
Well, I talked about Justin Upton, how great of a 3-0 swing it was, is because his approach is right back up the middle. So often 3-0, we're thinking about hitting a home run, and you pull off the baseball. That's why I hated swinging 3-0.
To short, McDonald reaches out, fires it on across, dies in the glove of Goldschmidt, one away.
I had a difficult enough time trying to contain my energy and excitement, and all of a sudden you get the 3-0, and that excitement and energy just goes through the roof, because all you're thinking about doing is going deep. At least I was. So after a few unsuccessful attempts at swinging at 3-0 pitches early in my career, I said, enough's enough.
So you didn't like it. Later in your career, you weren't wanting that 3-0 green line.
I really did. I did not like swinging at it, but you look at the Diamondbacks' success at swinging at 3-0 pitches. If you have the proper approach, it's a great pitch. It's a great count to hit, obviously.
Yeah, 0 for 3, you were 3-0 in your career. 0 for 3, you were exactly right. You're a truth teller early on in this show. On the ground, Brandon Crawford, the shortstop out of UCLA. And in time for the out. Fox Saturday Baseball returns next week. It's Albert Pujols making his first trip back east to New Yankee Stadium. the Angels and the Yankees, or the Cubs battle the Cardinals. It could be the Rangers and the Twins as well. Fox Saturday Baseball. It returns next week at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific, following MLB Player Poll, which airs at a special time. Check your local listings for the game and start time in your area. Madison Bumgarner.
The 0 for 3, Darren, also doesn't include the times I came out of my shoes, swung and fell down, and either fouled the ball off or swung and missed.
Okay, with the bases loaded we're talking about. 1-0 the count to Bumgarner, 2-0.
No, on 3-0 pitches. Here's another pitcher who could swing the bat as well.
As you were saying, Eric Burns. Base hit Madison Bumgarner, had 7 base hits last year, 4 doubles.
These guys just look hitterish up there, both him and Daniel Hudson. Look at the little leg kick, Buster Posey style. Nice, quick, short swing. The North Carolina native plays this game beyond his years.
Yeah, good athlete. You can read early scouting reports and see that they projected him as a young man that if he wanted to could hit not in the major leagues but certainly professionally at the next level. Good athlete, as that one is away to Angel Pagan. .30 years old, Puerto Rican native. Professionally in 1999 got things started as a Mets 4th round selection. Out front with a changeup, there's Justin Upton. That's the 3rd out. A fabulous changeup, had him leaking out front, and so far so good for Mr. Hudson and his outfielders. His skipper Bruce Bochy was saying before the game, as you look at today's numbers, that there was no better pitcher in all of the Cactus League, according to Bochy, than the man he's facing in Daniel Hudson. And do Cactus League numbers, do spring training numbers mean anything? Maybe not, but he caught Bochy's attention this spring.
19 innings, just 9 hits. And that doesn't include what was going on in the minor leagues.
Kirk Gibson has a philosophy that he doesn't like to let National League teams get too many early season previews of his pitchers. So they'll go hide in a minor league outing at some point. So those won't count in the stats. 1-2 the count. Ian Kennedy, he actually requested to face the Dodgers instead of in a minor league game. He asked Kirk Gibson, I want to go see what the Dodgers have. Now, what does Madison Bumgarner have this inning? It'll be very important here in just a second. We'll let you listen to what his pitching coach, Dave Righetti, had to say. Huge inning for him, just to quiet things down. That one is fouled off. And he's already almost to 60 pitches. Goodness gracious.
Jeez. CY's numbers against Madison Bumgarner. I think he woke up with a sexy feeling this morning.
I'm guessing, yeah. Fouls that one off, home run distance.
Talked to CY down by the batting cage today, and you look at the gaudy spring training numbers: 400, 5 homers, 65 at bats. I asked if he made any sort of adjustment, and he said he just tried to get a little bit more movement in his swing and raise the hands.
That one had him out front. Bumgarner settling in. We spoke with his pitching coach, Dave Righetti. Simple question. Evaluate what you've seen from Madison Bumgarner early.
Well, obviously, we're trying to get balls in on Hill, which is a mistake, and we need to keep the ball down and away to some people here, and we're not doing it. But you know, he gets a little flat at times in terms of his delivery, and balls cut on him, and he's, you know, when he's not on top of the baseball, he can't keep the ball where he wants it sometimes. But you know, and they're taking advantage of it.
Looking across the dugout at a very aggressive Diamondbacks club, especially the first 2 days early in the games.
Yes, well, you could say that when they score early, right? I mean, they can pop those up and you come in the dugout, but they're making guys work too. The first 2 innings of the last 2 days, obviously, we've thrown quite a few pitches early.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys.
252 career saves, 718 games pitched in the major leagues. An incredible career for Dave Righetti, and you can see what he's working with, trying to find a way to get his young pitcher better early in the season. Goldschmidt frozen, but the pitch looked pretty good. Called low, 3-1.
Talked about trying to come in on Aaron Hill as a mistake. I don't think it's a mistake trying to come in on Aaron Hill. The mistakes were that they didn't get the ball inside.
Paul Goldschmidt, it's a mile high. But the good news, to use a golf comparison, that's nothing more than a lob wedge as it's in the glove of Angel Pagan. Everything's loud coming off the bat of guys like Goldschmidt, so it just sounds scary.
I like this guy, big Paul Goldschmidt, see-ball, hit ball. I mean, it's like Paul Bunyan up there. He takes a monster hack, gets that real wide stance, and just lets it fly. Impressive show in BP earlier today as well.
Well, some good batting practice, huh? You kind of went through a voice change there when describing him. I mean, he made you feel, you know, tougher.
Look at him. He wears number 44. There's only a certain amount of guys who wear 44 and really pull it off. Paul Goldschmidt is one of those guys.
Pretty understated fella. You spent some time with him. Confident.
I did. A Texas State product.
One and one the count on Jason Kubel. Out front of a slow breaking ball. 1-2 the count.
You think about the great 44s. Reggie Jackson, of course, comes to mind. Tom Rathman.
Swing and a miss. Fabulous stuff. Blocking it up. Buster Posey, but he doesn't only block the ball, he can crush the ball. 2 up next inning. The heartbeat of the offense. LA is sponsored by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. Here in the desert, temperatures in the 90s over the weekend. Not stifling, comfortable 90 degrees with cool evenings. Melky Cabrera leads things off. I would imagine for the Giants, it's hitting time. And it was Cabrera, Pagan, and Sandoval that got the hitting going. Buster Posey also due up in this inning. And on the hands, it is hitting time for the Giants. Melky Cabrera is on.
Great piece of hitting right here. Looks like a little slider that comes in underneath his hands. He stays inside the ball, Darren. A lot of people would complain, oh, it's a jam job. That's it. Look, that's part of baseball. Good hitters get jammed. I say that because they stay on the ball and they don't give up. Talked about the bat path of Chris Young and how he's staying on the ball better. Melky Cabrera's been doing it for a while now.
Well, certainly, statistically anyway, the last season-plus games today and yesterday as well. He really has been comfortable. 1-0 the count, Pablo Sandoval. Ah, the panda. A pool and a panda. That just screams baseball, doesn't it? 1-1 the count. That's what I think of. Diamondbacks lead it 4-0. Sandoval struck out back in the first inning. And he enjoys Daniel Hudson.
I love those panda hats.
Do you now?
Not as much as Dan Plesac, who actually owns one. Loves to break out on the set of MLB Network whenever Kung Fu gets hot.
Can't decide if that's a good look or not. Actually, I've already decided, but 4-0 is the score. Well, over the last 3 seasons or so, there have not been many better third basemen. And that includes a dip 2 seasons back. I mean, he is, since 2009, a .302 hitter.
First time All-Star last year. 315, 23 home runs at AT&T Park, which is not a very easy place to hit.
Infield plays in the pole just about a step, as you can see. Roberts way off the line at third. Drive, deep right field, Upton. Well, watch it as it sails out of here.
Well, break out your panda hat, Dan Plesac.
Home runs a season ago. 4-2 is the score.
The cannonball to go with it. Pablo's got a fastball, much like Aaron Hill did twice already today. Turned and burned. Monster home run to deep right field.
And now that's a wet panda and a wet panda hat. Bouncing ball, an easy Saturday hop. Buster Posey, a couple of ground ball outs to short. He's 0 for 2 today, but 2 for 6 to start the season. He watched a lot of games in the postseason in 2010 while Mike Fontenot played third base. He wasn't in shape. They took his job away from him. He rededicated himself heading into 2011, and he's been on the right track ever since. I mean, you're one of the faces of the franchise, and you're sitting on the bench in the World Series.
Wake-up call. We spoke earlier about how this game will humble everybody at some point. Career 300 hitter. Yet if you're not producing, this is the biggest what have you done for me lately game. If you're not getting the job done, they will go out and find somebody else to do it. And then you might be sitting up here with Darren Sutton doing a Fox game.
A slide, that's a fair ball. Kubel went an awful long way to come get that baseball. Certainly Kubel known as an upgrade with the bat over Gerardo Parra with regard to power, but a step back defensively with regard to the glove.
Can't really see the sort of jump that Kubel got, but you got to figure that's a ball Gerardo Parra would have in his back pocket, no doubt. Kirk Gibson referred to Parra earlier today as a defensive weapon.
So a runner in scoring position for Brandon Belt. It is hitting time, as we said, coming back. You felt the sense of urgency for San Francisco of not allowing Hudson to really settle in.
I like this Giants offense this year, too. Younger, more athletic. Talked about the faith they've put in the Brandons.
This is one of them. Brandon Belt. Look, everywhere in the minor leagues he hit. I mean, and not a lot of minor league games, less than 200 minor league games, but he had almost 350 in the minors. You've got to see what he has, right?
More impressive than what he did in the minor leagues for me was when he went down to the Dominican Republic after struggling last year at the major league level. And Bruce Bochy and Brian Sabian went to him. They wanted to harden him up a little bit. The knock on Brandon Belt was say, hey, he might be a little soft. Well, Brandon Belt not only goes down there, but he crushes it, puts up monster numbers, comes back to spring training, locked in as could be, and earned that starting first base job. I spent 5 winters down in the Dominican Republic, Darren, playing for the Licey Tigres, and I don't think I would have had nearly as long of a career in the major leagues had I not gone down there.
They played Belt to pull close to the bag and short as McDonald. So as you reflect on how that helped Belt, I'll ask you why. Why did it make you a better player going down to the Dominican Republic?
You're facing major league arms on a nightly basis. Now, are you facing major league caliber pitcher? Well, as you get towards the playoffs, yes. But we all know about Dominicans in their arms. I mean, it's unbelievable the velocity in which these guys can throw a baseball. So to see that on a nightly basis, it's huge in the development process, not to mention the fact that you get more at-bats, more repetitions to hone your skills.
Loads up that back leg. Fastball, electric, blew it right by him. Belt that time. Unable to get it done. Visit MLB.com/fanguide to register for a chance to win a VIP experience for 2 at the 2012 World Series game. And to download your favorite team's schedule as well. It's presented by Scotts, the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. Plus, I would imagine, just to close the book on that subject, there's a sense of urgency every night with games that you're playing in the Dominican Republic. As the pitch is outside, different than, and I mean this with all due respect, but different than, let's say, the Arizona Fall League.
Well, yeah, talk about put up or shut up. They'll put you on a plane and send you home if you're not producing. This is not the country club that is the Arizona Fall League. Way different.
Off the end of the bat, boy, Hudson settled down. But not before our favorite fan out by the pool, the Panda. Got a ball hit by the Panda. Oh, he got wet. Cannonball! ball game. Pablo Sandoval with a home run, a pair of runs scored. 4-2 is the score. To the bottom of the fourth we go. And very important for Madison Bumgarner, facing 8, 9, and 1 to have a shutdown inning, isn't it?
Good breaking ball right there. We haven't seen that yet.
Slow curveball, 0-1. Cut fastball that looked like it broke 72 feet, 0-2.
That's filthy.
Hickory, North Carolina, this 22-year-old left-hander. Pitched well enough in high school, South Caldwell High School, to be a first-round pick in 07. 10th pick overall. Chopper won't be easy. Right around the bag. Diving out of the way. A fabulous decision by Terrio to clear things for the shortstop Crawford.
Great communication between the two. I don't know if it was natural instinct or Brandon Crawford actually called for the baseball. But the young UCLA product made a very nice move, and the veteran Terrio, give him a lot of credit for being able to get out of the way so quickly.
Hudson, base hit, right field, the Silver Slugger winner. He beats it out. They're going to try that. All right fielders should with the pitcher running. Silver Slugger winner has a couple of hits.
That's annoying.
Makes it look easy, doesn't
it? Golly. As a hitter there was nothing worse than having to watch a pitcher go up there. And a lot of times pitchers are bat speed isn't as great as these position players. So they hit the ball the other way so well. And a lot of it's just because they're late, and I understand that, and I get that. But that's what I try to do my whole career, is shoot the ball the other way to very little success. And here's Daniel Hudson today, 2 for 2, with 2 balls hit hard to the right side.
This kind of makes me wonder why it wasn't so easy for everybody else. I mean, look how easy it is. I mean, right? 1-0 the count. Eric and Darren, glad to have you with us. Good backdoor cut fastball, started off the plate away.
And we haven't seen Madison Bumgarner throw that pitch all that often to try to backdoor it. That's a huge weapon. To start it off away to a right-handed hitter, the right-handed hitter's perception is that that ball's going to be a foot outside. And then it cuts back over the outside part of the plate.
Shot that one foul, did Ryan Roberts. Well, there's a reason Hudson can hit, because he's been hitting for quite some time. He was, along with Justin Upton, Louisville Slugger's Silver Slugger winner. We'll see Gerardo Parra come in as a defensive specialist soon, and he hopes to keep kissing that glove. We got a little trick of the trade later we'll share with you. The National League Manager of the Year, Kirk Gibson, and Kevin Towers, his boss, the general manager of the Diamondbacks. It was a day of celebration yesterday. Back to the screen it goes, but Kirk Gibson made it clear that we'll do one day, we'll shake hands, we'll celebrate, we'll pass the awards around and take them home, and we're done celebrating anything.
We talked about it in the open. One of my least favorite games of the year was opening day, just because there's so many extracurricular activities going on, whereas the second day of the year actually was my favorite day because it was just about baseball.
Fly ball off the bat, down at the end of the bat, better set. Roberts puts that one away. Miguel Montero's wearing a microphone today. Some sounds of the game, and he's talking about Aaron Hill to start things out.
Lito me hit it. Lito me hit it. It's all right, dude. It's a long season, brother. It's all right. You still got 5-6 more innings to go, bro. You know?
It's all right, dude. Long season, he says. Let me translate that for you. Hey, we're lighting you up right now. Go ahead and wear it.
I love that. That's my favorite sounds of the game quote on any sport that I've ever heard, because it was somewhat genuine.
It's the second day of the year, and he's telling Madison Bumgarner it's a long season.
1-1 to count with 2 outs. And he's telling Aaron Hill that he's not very tall, by the way, as he trots by. If you were to clearly hear what he said. In on the hands, the cut fastball. He couldn't square it up. An effective pitch. It's all right, Mr. Bumgarner, says the catcher. It's a long season. Just hang in there. Texas and goes under the lights in prime time. Defending champ Matt Kenseth will lead the world's best drivers to the Great American Speedway to chase for the checkered flag. Fox Sports proud to bring you exclusive coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing presented by Farmers, and it's live from the Texas Motor Speedway next Saturday following baseball at 7 Eastern and 4 Pacific. We see some movement in the on-deck circle. We see Nate Shearholz and Madison Bumgarner not in the on-deck circle. His spot is due up second. The manager went and spoke with him. It looks like he's done a human afternoon is the best way to put it. 4 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs allowed. 80 pitches, a lot of pitches early. And I think more than anything, when you think about Madison Bumgarner, who pieced it together, he sat down the last 7 he faced, or I should say 7 of the last 8. That Bruce Bochy needs some offense. He needs some runs.
They got 2 back last inning. See what they can do here.
Brandon Crawford picked on a slider that stayed at the knees. 25 years old, Mountain View, California, as the North Carolina youngster looks on. And the other part of the dueling Brandons that Bruce Bochy decided he had to be in there every day.
Slick fielding shortstop, hit just 204 in 196 at-bats last year, but had a big Arizona Fall League. Followed it up with a very nice spring training. 333 with 3 bombs.
Into the dirt.
Brian Sabian actually spoke the other day about Brandon Crawford potentially being a 150-plus game player. Originally, they were thinking they were going to have to try to protect this kid, but he swung the bat so well in the Fall League and in spring training, they may stick with him.
Chopper reaching out. Fine play by McDonald, his counterpart. Let's take a look at the Lexus in-game box score after that sparkling play for the San Francisco Giants, brought to you by Lexus. And it was those top three that did the damage so far. Buster Posey is 0 for 2. Better said, the top three that did the damage last night. And this is why John McDonald keeps getting work.
Absolutely. Pickett just flat out Pickett. Kirk Gibson giving Willie Bloomquist a day off. He feels like to keep Bloomquist at his best, he really needs to give him some rest through the course of the year. I said, Gibby, it's second game of the year. Stephen Drew, of course, is the regular Diamondback shortstop and had that devastating injury at home plate last year, similar to Buster Posey.
Nate Shearholz pinch hitting, and a very good one, as you can see, waves at a changeup. And they wait for Stephen Drew to be healthy, maybe sometime in June, even the All-Star break, as Dan Otero warms. Another changeup, got on the side of it and just pushed it up and away. 2-0 the count.
How about Willie Bloomquist being the first player from Arizona State University to ever play for the Diamondbacks? I find that shocking.
Isn't it? It's a good program. Shearholz out front. That's another changeup and a really good one. Miguel Montero puts it away. It's time now to go to Matt Vasgersian at the MLB Network studios. Here is a DirecTV game break.
Hey, Darren, your matchup isn't the only one featuring long balls this afternoon. 3 by the Tigers today, including Prince Fielder's first in his new uniform. If you're a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. 1-800-DirecTV. Back to you guys in Phoenix.
Thank you, Matt. So Prince Fielder settling in the Motor City. Pushes a bunt, foul, and Pagan represents, it bears mentioning right now because Boch told you about it, represents a new style of managing for Bruce Bochy. And that's guys like Pagan, Cabrera, just push the envelope.
They have speed. It's something that they have not had in the past. So you're going to see a little bit more hit and running, stealing bases. Even more than that, what's so important, or what makes speed so important, is the ability to go first to third to take the extra base.
Slider in on the hands, long run, Justin Upton still coming, he's got it. Upton puts it away. 3 in a row. 1, 2, 3 they go. Moving on now from Chase. for youth baseball in cities and towns across the country. Justin Upton leads things off, and Eric Burns, a little bit of research that was done, figuring out all of the home runs he hit last year, 31 to be exact. Where's the hot spot? Where, if you're the man making your major league debut, Daniel Otero, what do you want to avoid?
The middle of the plate. It's really where Justin Upton does most of his damage. He's a great mistake hitter. You can see he really actually, Darren, he hits a ball the other way very well, but it doesn't mean he likes the ball away. He likes the ball out over the plate, almost even closer to him, and he's able to pull his hands in and drive the baseball to all parts of the ballpark.
Justin Upton fouls that one off. This is Daniel Otero. He's 27 years old, South Florida native. This is his major league debut. Pitched in college at Duke and his final year of college at the University of South Florida. He's waited a long time for this. 27, making his major league debut. Sinks it over the outside corner. That's strike 3. Upton does not like the call, but there's that sinker you were talking about that he has during the break.
Yeah, good sinker, slider, changeup guy. You can see the late movement on the baseball coming back almost to the corner. Justin Upton doesn't think so. I somewhat agree with him, but Otero making his major league debut with a strikeout of a perennial all-star.
Just kind of nip that outside corner. Here is Miguel Montero. He's ready for a pitch to dodge down and away because he didn't try to pull it. That was pretty. 2 hits today. He's 2 for 3.
Real good looking swing here by Miguel Montero. Just right back up the middle, Darren. That's the approach. If you want to have success at this level, your approach is up the middle, the other way. You don't really want to think about pulling the baseball. Something that just naturally happens.
Well, you can bet Otero wants a ground ball, thinking about a double play as he hates the outside corner. To Chris Young, 0-1 the count. How long has he waited? Well, he made his professional debut, Otero, back in 2007. And he has traveled to places like Augusta and San Jose. He's rehabbed here in Arizona, Richmond, Fresno. 5 years in the minor leagues, and this is his major league debut. He's put up great numbers as a minor leaguer. And everything's moving. I mean, nothing's straight from Otero.
That's filthy. Not an overpowering fastball, but really when you get to this level, it's all about location and movement.
That one skitters on by Posey. Montero not fleet foot. He will move up. The dictionary definition of a wild pitch in video right there.
Nice read by Miguel Montero. Sees the ball in the dirt, takes off immediately. He's able to get to second base. Fresh out of spring training. Or generally when you see guys take extra bases like that, because that's what you work on all spring.
And then what happens? Your mind gets a little tired, your body as the season goes on.
The 162-game grind, well, may get to some guys.
I would imagine especially catchers who aren't quick anyway. 1-2 the count. RBI opportunity for Young, who drove in a run in the first inning with a double. In.
Chris Young's biggest problem through the course of his career is popping up the baseball. And when he spoke about raising his hands, the idea was to figure out a way, anything to try to stay on top of the ball. And you look at the spring training numbers, 400, 5 homers, and
he pulled that one. He didn't pop it up at all. Base hit left field. Hustling on around into second with the slide. It's a double. A big add-on run by the Arizona Diamondbacks. They lead it 5-2. How big was that wild pitch now?
Again, Darren, look at the hands. They're slightly higher than where they were. He's got a little rock, a little movement, so he doesn't get stale up there. Those are the two things that Chris Young pointed out to me when I asked him what has been the difference since the beginning of spring training.
Slider, strike one to Paul Goldschmidt.
Love the aggressive base running too. He's a gamer. Confident. Some people would say borderline cocky.
Manager said it.
In this game, you have to have it, though.
Any minute in a complimentary way. 1-1 to count. How was it he described Kirk Gibson, Chris Young this morning with regard to his... Gibson feels like he has him every day 100%, right? It's interesting because Young, there's a cool customer part of his persona. As he swings right through that one. I think he's cool on the outside. He internalizes a lot of that grind, whereas his dear friend, his baseball best friend, Justin Upton, you can see whatever's going on with him, he wears everything outside. Helmets, bats, slams, frustration.
The Playboys, they like to refer to themselves as.
2-2 the count. Those two have spent a lot of time together learning, failing, succeeding in the major leagues. They've been through some tough and what they would deem embarrassing years here as well. Swing and a miss, a home run cut. He missed that one. It's time again for our Lexus in-game box score, brought to you by our good friends and partners with Lexus. Been a Chris Young and Miguel Montero kind of day, a couple of your former teammates. But these are guys that you wouldn't call young players anymore. They're closer to veterans than they are younger players. They've been here for a long time. They will make a decision on 1-0 to put Jason Kubel on. And John McDonald will have a chance. Young out there at second base, by the way. 4 RBIs in 2 games. Last year, it took him 8 games to get to 4 RBIs. Kind of makes you sleep easier when you start hot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to get the first everything out of the way. The first homer, the first RBI, the first run scored, the first stolen base. Again, another reason why I said I don't love opening day, because you're not necessarily in the groove of the season yet.
You love the second day.
The second day is where it all starts. And I don't know what it is about opening day. It's the butterflies, though. You're nervous, and you're like, why am I nervous? I've been doing this for a while. It's just another baseball game. It has that playoff sort of feel, but it's not the playoffs.
Donald didn't feel right, so he asks to step out. And you guys, you ball players, are such routine creatures. My goodness. Arrive at a certain time, eat your peanut butter sandwich at a certain time, hit the cage at a certain time. Opening day is everything against all that.
Award ceremonies, player introductions, flyovers. I did always love the flyover.
Beautiful here yesterday and beautiful all around the country.
I could take that every day, actually.
1-1 to count. McDonald struck out and grounded out to short. Otero in relief of Madison Bumgarner had a tough day, was only able to log those 4 innings. The sad thing I would imagine for Madison is that his last couple of innings he was very solid, just 1 base runner in his last 2 innings. In on the knuckles to the bag. Got him. A fine play by Crawford, not an easy play at all. And a big out. Hoping to put some momentum for the Giants in that dugout. 5-2. Dodge dealer today. And by Scott's Turf Builder Lawn Food. Feed your lawn. Feed it. Which means feed it.
Of all the shots of Phoenix, that's the one we get.
You don't like that?
All the beautiful cactuses out there in the desert landscape. I mean, we got to...
I'm going to tell you why that's a beautiful shot. Just
view of the 10?
You'll agree with this. You'll agree with why it's a beautiful shot as Hudson goes back to work. That one misses away to Melky Cabrera. The Giants again looking for hitting time. I'll tell you why it's beautiful. The traffic was moving. It wasn't sitting. That's a rare treat, that shot. Out front, a 1-0 changeup. That's pitching, folks, if you're watching at home. And he's got some support if you're just joining us. Here is today's Jeep game summary. Let's take a look back. Highlights in this contest. How about the long ball? Aaron Hill in the first inning, a long ball. 2 runs would score in the inning because he'd do it again with 2 more in the second. Bing bang boom. It was 4-0 right out of the gates. An answer. A 2-run shot in the fourth off the bat of Pablo Sandoval. That made it 4-2. The Diamondbacks scrapped away with 1 more run. That's where we stand, 5-2. Eric Burns and Darren Sutton, certainly glad to have you joining us. Joining us for our Jeep game summary. Look out in the dugout. Hill, you can see what he has done. Sandoval with the 2-run homer in the fourth. 3 off of Hudson. He's about a 500 career hitter against Daniel. It's a big old extra base hit series for the Diamondbacks so far, who don't hit well on the road, but hit well in this ballpark. Pitch is inside, 2-1 the count.
Daniel Hudson has really impressed me. He is dirty. You see that 86-mile-per-hour slider. He's running his fastball into the low 90s, and that devastating changeup. Just drop it off the table right there.
And that's a pitch that's been a work in progress for him. He'll tell you that. He lost him. That is ball 4. This MLB on Fox season, Fox is proud to support the Boys and Girls Club of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Eric Burns and Darren Sutton, glad to have you up here in the broadcast booth, and certainly trust you're having a good day. You enjoying this here in the booth?
Love it. Love baseball. Love being back in the ballpark. I do a lot of the MLB Network stuff, but we're stuck in the studio in Secaucus, New Jersey. This is great.
You enjoying your old bench coach down there managing Kirk Gibson? Well, what do you think of this? Huh? Seriously. Birdsey, run harder! It's unacceptable, Eric.
Good old whack job. That was his nickname. And again, I mean that in an endearing way.
Oh, he'll be talking to you after the game. Outside, 1-1 the count. And so will Bruce Bochy. You can see it's been a fun battle. Look, these two teams kind of are the top. Even though the Diamondbacks, as Boch looks on as well. You know, the Diamondbacks for a couple of years in 09 and 2010 took a step backwards. 8 of the last 13 seasons. The division winner, well, they're down there. It's either been the Giants or the Diamondbacks. 8 of the last 13.
I asked both managers, we both did, about how this has developed into a rivalry. And both of them said, yeah, of course, because they're the past 2 National League Western Division champions. But there's not a whole lot of bad blood between the 2.
Nice dig over there by Paul Goldschmidt. Let's got to get that list out there to remind you. But we also need to remind you of Bruce Bochy's role, because where you see those Padres, that's when Bruce Bochy was their manager. So certainly Bruce Bochy, the Giants, the Diamondbacks, a big role, and I think a lot of people are starting to move towards the fact that the Dodgers are going to be a more important team than many think this year. Though you say the Rockies.
No, I like the Dodgers. You look at the fact that they had the Cy Young Award winner in Clayton Kershaw, and then Matt Kemp, who in my opinion is the best player in the National League.
1-0 the count to Aubrey Huff, 35 years young. Went to the University of Miami. He knows everything in his life to devotion of mom. Single mom. Worked very hard. Saved to put a batting cage in their backyard. Every day he's grateful. He drives that one to right, sending Justin Upton back, but the ballpark will hold it. Boy, he's fighting the sun there, Upton, as well. 5-2 the score. Hudson kept it in the yard. Opened for business in 1998. A pool beyond the right field wall, and it's expected to be in the low 90s today. What a great day to be by a pool. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers that on the western part of the United States enjoying a day like today may be out by their pool, sneak out occasionally, and I'm sure most of them are wearing fur panda hats as well. 1-0 the count to Hudson. 1-1. Which one of those things out there doesn't belong? When home runs into the pool, fans by a pool, it's just very, very unique. Off the man on the mound, Otero, Hudson hustling. And the funny thing about it is, first of all, you hope Otero's okay. That's most important. Secondly, that's the hardest ball he's hit all day. And that was an out.
That was the hardest ball he hit all day. Sinking fastball. Otero leaves it over the middle of the plate. Daniel Hudson can hit. He just looks like a hitter when he stands up there.
Pitched at Old Dominion University, the school that produced Justin Verlander. Could hit back then, Hudson.
You could always tell, Darren, I could always tell when I was in the outfield which pitchers could hit just by their presence in the batter's box.
Really?
The way they walked up to the plate. The way they stood in the box.
Ryan Roberts, single center field, so Roberts was 0 for 3. Was 1 for 7 to start the season, but there's a base hit. Mazda, stronger moment. Here it is, today's Mazda stronger moment, brought to you by Mazda. Better, stronger, smarter. He had to be all three of those things there, but for Aaron Hill, he just flexed his muscles twice. Caused a better, stronger, smarter moment. Home runs number 1 and 2. Remember, he hit 8 all of last season. Good slider, 0-1 the count to Aaron Hill.
He did have a resurgence, though, towards the end of the year with the Diamondbacks, hitting over 300. Was a pivotal figure in that stretch run.
A veteran hitting coach and veteran baseball guy all around, Don Baylor, his hitting coach here in Arizona. Remind him of one simple fact, 0-2 the count, that there is a right side of the baseball field. I mean, Hill has pulled 2 homers, and they've been incredible to see for him, I'm sure, today. But he came here to Arizona and suddenly was punching balls over the second baseman's head. And that's why he hit. Baylor said, no, wait a minute, there's an old other hand. There it is. Look over there to the right. Back to the screen it goes.
Interesting job for a hitting coach like Don Baylor when you're dealing with a guy like Aaron Hill, because do you lose power if you make an overcommitment to the right side of that baseball field? This is a guy that hit 36 home runs in 2009. So, yes, do I want him hitting for a higher average? Of course. But probably somewhere in the middle is where you want to meet.
Good breaking ball, and that's a good take on 0-2. No, that makes sense, certainly. I probably the concern comes in when you're talking about hitting like 200. You know, when you're hovering around even 200. But in the heart of a pennant race, Hill was willing to do or wanted to do whatever he had to do to play and play in meaningful games. Bouncing ball, Crawford opts to step back, goes one quick turn, fine play defensively. Crawford made a last-minute adjustment to step back. Terrio turned it over very quickly. Baseball presented by Chevrolet. Daniel Hudson journeys into the 7th inning. Brandon Belt hopes to put some stress on the right-hander. 25-year-old right-hander who last year went 7 or more innings in 19 of his 33 starts. Belt's 0 for 2. He's bullied him with fastballs so far.
You saw Brandon Belt attack that first pitch fastball. That was one of the things that Bam Bam Eulens and the rest of the Giants staff wanted to see more out of Brandon Belt, was him be aggressive early in the count. People talk about his struggles last year. Hit just above 220. But did have 9 home runs in just 180 some odd at bats.
On the ground, foul ball. When he is right, is he hitting the ball all over the ballpark, or is he a pull hitter? What have you seen in Belt?
He's a guy that can hit the ball to any part of the field.
Okay.
Absolutely. He's going to be a high on-base percentage guy. Potentially a 25 home run guy. I really, really like Brandon Belt.
That's the pitch that's gotten him.
That's one, yeah. The inside pitch, and that's what Major League teams did to him last year, and they exploited the hole on the inside. Now, is that hole still there? Somewhat, but it is on most great hitters.
Takes that one. Boy, there's your on-base percentage you spoke up. Let's go to Matt Vasgersian at the MLB Network studios. Here's a game break.
Sut, Albert Pujols' first hit as an Angel. It hasn't bothered Luke Hochevar. That might not be the story. Watch Albert as he tries to score later in the inning, kind of blowing through Dino Ebel's stop sign here, reminiscent of Bobby Grich and Moose Stubing in the '86 ALCS. Royals trying to even up their season opening series in Anaheim. Guys, back to you.
Matt Vasgersian, a beautiful big A from the '80s mention. He was out at the plate. Good stuff. Thank you, Matt. Good cut fastball. He's a Southern California guy out of Long Beach State. Brian Shaw warns. He gets ready pretty quickly just in case. What a great at bat by Belt. Right back to the screen. No balls and 2 strikes right away.
We saw Glenn Sherlock down there, longtime bullpen coach for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I talked to Sherlock earlier today about kind of the state of the organization. And he said it's better now than it's ever been. What Kevin Towers has done coming in here with Kirk Gibson as a manager, and then you look at their staff. This is an all-star caliber staff of just great baseball people.
Well, if anyone can speak on the state of an organization, it's Glenn Sherlock. He has been here since this organization was born. He has been on the coaching staff under every single manager in different roles. And for Glenn to tell you that in a private conversation, that's, I would imagine, the people in this organization would take it as a compliment. You better. He's been here for all the years. 0-2 the count, Ontario. Slider, did he? He did not right away, it is called. He's over 90 pitches now. Let's see.
Yeah. No, he did not go. Again, Darren Sutton, I will always side with the hitter.
We'll allow you today to do that. Pickoff throw. With that pitch right there. After the pickoff, they're talking about a fastball, belt high, right down the middle, strike 3. Rare that you see that from Terrio.
Ryan Terrio has not been himself. He struggled all spring. To me, he just looks jumpy out there. When you see those check swings, which I had all too often through the course of my career, you just know he's not quite seeing the ball very well.
Terrio, part of the World Championship team last year for Tony La Russa's squad. Without Ryan Terrio, at least in the first round especially, there's no rings in St. Louis. He was 6 for 10 in the division series.
That is a 271 hitter. Played shortstop, was pivotal in that World Series team.
But as you mentioned, Terrio back in that dugout now struggling. The shadows creep across. The lights are turned on once the shadows come across to balance out this ballpark. Ryan back over the rail now. Belted center field. Young's on the move. Stops short of the track and puts it away. The MLB Fan Cave is back this year. 9 cave dwellers will compete to remain in the cave until the final pitch of the World Series. Some of baseball's biggest stars are scheduled to visit and appear in Fan Cave videos. Check out all the latest cave happenings at MLBFanCave.com. Follow them on Twitter, by the way, at MLB Fan Cave, and like them on Facebook as well.
Real good swing by Brandon Crawford right there. I mentioned earlier that he hit just over 200 and almost 200 at-bats last year, but he had a lot of hard outs, a lot of outs that looked very similar to that.
Pinch hitter Brett Pill waves over the top of a slider. 0-1 the count. The last couple of opportunities he's had in the big leagues, he got it done late last year when they just started to turn over bodies in San Francisco to give somebody else a shot. Bill belts down in left field. Deep. Going back. Kugel. That one's out of here. There was a question of Pill maybe pinch hitting last night for Aubrey Huff. No doubt about his opportunity this time, and he cashed in. We've got a ball game, 5-4.
The man who homered in his first plate appearance ever as a San Francisco Giant delivers the goods once again. This is a ball game.
Looked like he picked on a hanging slider, and Kirk Gibson seen enough. These Giants went down 2-3, 4-0 last year. Did not do this much.
You hang it, we'll bang it. Brett Pill taking advantage of a spinner.
That's the first pitch from Brian Shaw. We welcome you back to Chase Field where the Giants are making a move. It's a 5-4 game. Brett Pill, pinch hitting's tough enough, but delivering one into the bleachers as a pinch hitter is even more difficult. Hanging slider certainly didn't hurt. That's a cut fastball in on the knuckle. Shaw, that's his best pitch. He cleans it up. Comes in and gets Pagan. Don't go anywhere. Ford F-150, built Ford tough. And by 1&1 My Website, where creating a business website, well, it's just easy. The Grand Canyon State. Now, I guess this is, you approve of this video a lot more, I would hope.
Yeah, now we're talking. Our last footage of the intersection between the 10 and the 17 wasn't doing it for me.
Both were moving. I told you there was no traffic. That's what made it unique. As Eric Burns and Darren Sutton welcome you back. This has turned into a heck of a ball game. This is going to be a heck of a Western Division this year, and a good way to start it in these first two contests. Alexi Casilla.
Santiago Casilla.
Santiago Casilla. I jumped ahead. Different names, different players. The right-hander. 49 appearances last year, and good work. And right away, he buries it under the knuckles of Justin Upton.
Yeah, you shouldn't be screwing up this guy's name, Darren. A 1.74 ERA. 51.2 innings pitched, just 33 hits. As a hitter, when I wanted to find out how nasty the pitcher is, I would look at innings pitched and look at the hits. Whenever that number was significantly lower, I knew he had some filthy stuff. 183 batting average against as well.
Santiago is 31 years old. Tough numbers, as you mentioned, and really kind of found himself when he switched Bay Area teams. Wasn't quite the same pitcher at all with Oakland, but his last 2 years in San Francisco, 1.85 in 101 games. 1.85 ERA, that is. These two know one another. It was June, it was last year, it was the 10th inning. A solo shot, first pitch he saw from him to right field. Ended a 5-game losing streak against the Giants, pulled them within a game and a half of San Francisco. 5 days later, they moved into first, and they never looked back. So these two know each other. Bouncing ball. Crawford adjusts. He's had to do that a couple of times, playing it back. And so Justin Upton is the first out of the inning. Santiago Casilla.
96 miles per hour right there. And he has a very, very nice changeup to go with it.
Mota's the long man. Veteran Javier Lopez, the specialty guy. One of the lockdown guys with this man, Romo and Wilson. Brian Wilson, the closer. Miguel Montero, kind enough, by the way, as he takes the first pitch for strike one to mic up today. You can see it just like an extra button peeking out his jersey there. His energy is a big part of Kirk Gibson's locker room. David Hernandez, a scoreless inning last night. Breaking ball is high to Miguel Montero. Received MVP votes a season ago. Heading into free agency this upcoming winter. Taught himself the English language as a minor leaguer. Taught himself. Young man out of Venezuela. Bill Plummer, if you'll remember, the guy who worked so much behind Johnny Bench as a backup in the 70s. Plummer, a big part of the coaching staff in this organization. He gives credit for the catching side, but you've got to give Montero credit that as a catcher he realized, I better speak the language of a lot of my pitchers. It's a good at bat he takes. That is ball 4. It is game break time. Let's get it to the MLB Network studios. Here's Matt Vasgersian.
Darren, you guys have watched Aaron Hill go deep twice in your game. Corey Hart has now gone deep a second time, joining Lucas Duda, Miguel Cabrera, and Prince Fielder, all enjoying multiple home run games. Burnsy, grab a bat. Get out there.
There you go.
It's the nicest thing Matt Vasgersian has ever said to me.
This is what happened in the Central last year, a season ago. It won't look the same this year.
Matty V usually trying to come in with some sort of shot to the gut.
Pitch is low, 1-0 the count. I have to admit I'm a little bit disappointed. I was hoping there would be yet another low blow. Very complimentary. Doesn't really fit. What a day it's been for Chris Young. A good start to the season. He homered last night. He's got 3 extra base hits to start the year.
The shadows are starting to creep towards center field, and they're a little bit of a pain.
Ouch, that got Young in the right hand. Wrist to the hand, and that hurts. He was trying to run a fastball up and in, and he drilled it.
And you wonder if the shadows didn't have something to do with that. Because
How so?
Right now, you could see the difference between light and dark probably almost at the exact same point where Santiago Casilla is releasing the baseball.
Well, that's great perspective you give us, though, Bernsey. You can hear that one there. When he's talking about it, kind of look like you got him in the rest, as if you were to get behind home plate and look out. And that right arm of Casilla's coming right out of that shadow. You're saying he may have been able to react a little quicker and get out of the way.
Absolutely. Chris Young, who's as locked in as any Diamondbacks hitter at this point, coming off the huge spring, obviously swinging the bat very well in the first 2 games. I haven't seen him jump at a ball like that in the 2 games that I've watched him. Yet, let's not discount the fact that Santiago Casilla throws 96 miles per hour with a run, a late run.
Came right back in there. That would have been a strike either way. 0-1 the count on Paul Goldschmidt. 5-4 the score. -2.
When I reference run, for those at home who don't understand what I'm talking about, it's generally when the ball tails back towards the right-handed hitter or away from the left-hander.
Look at Paul tugging at his helmet. He's trying to get his sights set. This is exactly what you're speaking of right now. It's a great batter's eye when all the lights even. 98. 1-2 the count.
Sud, as an offensive player, I used to always want to play with the roof closed, especially in the day games.
Even lighting.
Absolutely.
One and 2 the count. Late swing, late reaction. Again, you don't want to undersell the velocity of the fastball. He blows him away. You were talking about the change in this organization, according to Glenn Sherlock. Well, these are Glenn Sherlock's colleagues. This is the coaching staff. Charles Nagy, Alan Trammell, of course, Don Baylor. Matt Williams, a favorite in Kirk Gibson, a couple of World Series titles. So this has a little bit to do with it, doesn't it?
What an impressive staff. By far and away the most impressive staff in all of Major League Baseball. I should have showed up today with my baseball card collection. That's my autographs.
Well, the cynic said after the 2010 season, a losing season for the Diamondbacks, the cynic said very loudly, the best players now for the Diamondbacks are the coaches. And it was a good thing that the players on the active roster proved the cynic wrong the very next year. They kind of hoped when you heard, as Jason Kubel evens the count at 1-1, that these were the coaches that were hired, reading about it from around the country. If you were an Arizona fan, you hoped they could play.
This was a team last year that everybody predicted would finish dead last in the National League West. Not only did they win, they won 94 games, and they gave the Brewers everything they had in that division series.
Look at the life as that one dives under the swing of Kubel.
I asked these guys the difference between 2010 and 2011. Obviously, a lot of them responded with the bullpen.
Bouncing ball. Well, Mr. Garcia will tell you, first off, my name is Santiago. He will also tell you, don't overlook our bullpen. Now, the Giants need some runs. Behind the scenes look at the broadcast as well as up-to-date news from around the league. Twitter, MLB on Fox, Facebook.com/Fox Sports. Right-hander David Hernandez. First pitch, changeup of all things. Rarely if ever throws it. Just a different look to Melky Cabrera for strike one.
Darren Sutton, you just told me he doesn't throw the changeup all that often.
Not very much at all. He throws breaking balls and a hard fastball.
Talked about Santiago Garcia and looking at the innings pitched and the hits against him. Hernandez, 69 and a third innings pitched last year, just 49 hits.
Change up, two of them. Stunning. Behind Young, backing up, was Gerardo Parra, the Gold Glove left fielder. He's going to be a weapon for Kirk Gibson when he doesn't start. As he heads out to play left field, kind of a late defensive change.
He's fun to watch. I had the opportunity to play with him my final year as a Diamondback. And he was just one of those guys that, when he was out there playing, just had this infectious energy that he brought to the team.
1-0 the count to Pablo Sandoval. Sandoval picks it into right field. I think loving on that changeup a little bit too much. Pablo's glad he threw him another changeup. It's a pitch that David will tell you I rarely throw. He's thrown 4 in this inning.
What a sweet swing. You see Pablo Sandoval, the little leg kick on his backside. He has so many moving parts that you would think that off-speed pitches would actually be very difficult for Pablo Sandoval to hit. But he is a great breaking ball hitter and off-speed pitch hitter.
So now Buster Posey, the outfield plays him to the opposite field, almost like a left-handed pull hitter. Big swing, 0-1 the count. Big hole in the right side on the infield. Look at that outfield. Look at Chris Young in center field. But Posey uses the big part of the ballpark. Two fastballs, no balls, and 2 strikes after being a changeup pitcher for a while.
Each and every one of these guys have scouting reports on them. So Buster Posey, who uses a whole field so well, you'll see the outfield shift over to the right side. And then you add the fact that you have David Hernandez on the mound throwing the ball in the mid-90s. Might want to move over even a little more.
Got him. 3 pitches. That's a strikeout. All fastballs. Walk us through it.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good night.
I love that analysis. That's perfect. Make a good doorman. Here's Aubrey Huff. He gives that one a ride. He didn't square it up. Hernandez, the sometimes closer for the Arizona Diamondbacks, marches right through the heart of the order for the San Francisco Giants in 9 pitches. Yes, complete luxury in a class full of compromises. Sun shining bright down on Chase Field. Javier Lopez, the veteran left-handed reliever, going to work as the shadows just about split right down the middle with the roof open here at Chase Field. 34 years old, and at one point a Diamondback, began his career in the Diamondbacks organization. A couple of stints with Arizona, but has been for the last few years the man from the left side out of the bullpen for Bruce Bochy. He comes down low. 0-1.
Brian Sabean said his #1 priority going into the offseason, believe it or not, was to keep the pitching staff intact. Well, they struggled so much offensively that it raised some questions in San Francisco. The first 2 moves that he made was bringing back both Javi Lopez and Jeremy Afel. And then was still able to get the offensive bats via trades, bringing in Angel Pagan and the milkman, Melky Cabrera.
Yeah, changing certainly the face of the offense, the bullpen, as McDonald is erased. Bruce Bochy knows as he looks into the next inning, he's got the two Brandons, as we've mentioned, and Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford. So he's got a couple of youngsters that will hit for him. But going forward, too, Eric Burns, we've talked about Bochy will manage differently this year, won't he? Offensively. And he expects guys to go first to third a lot more. He expects aggressive base running. His team got a little younger.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to play. I really do. I think he's going to try to mix and match everybody. There's some guys who are sitting on the bench that had some good springs. Gregor Blanco, the Venezuelan League MVP, surprised everybody when he made the team.
He plays a lot like Pagan and Cabrera, right? Speed, energy.
He flies.
Okay.
Real fun to watch. The other guy is the backup catcher, the 22-year-old Hector Sanchez, Venezuelan as well. A lot of people were surprised when they kept him, but this team, whose offensive struggles were so well documented last year, they're going for more bats.
1-2 the count on Gerardo Parra. Funny thing about Bruce Bochy, and I'm sure he doesn't think it's funny right now, there was not this comeback ability of the Giants a year ago. If there's anything to be encouraged, now look, they still have 3 outs to play with, and they touched up J.J. Putz last night.
I do radio for the Giants flagship station, KNBR 680 in San Francisco, and really, you're right, Darren. At this point of the game,
easy chance in center field. Pagani races Parra.
You would not have a whole lot of belief that this team had the ability to come back. When they went down 4-0, you would just write it off as a loss. If you remember, one of my keys to the game, or my key to the game for the San Francisco Giants, was score 4 runs, 55-9 in 2011 when they scored 4 runs or more. For the second straight night, they've scored 4 runs, and they're looking at potentially being 0-2. What's wrong with this pitching staff?
Oh, do we ever think we'd hear anybody even kiddingly say that? Ryan Roberts takes strike 1, 0-1 to count.
I might be fielding those phone calls come Monday.
The gritty, gutty Ryan Roberts, those aren't just throwaway words for this man. Swing and a miss, 0-2 the count. He'll tell you, I took things for granted a couple of years ago. I thought I was, and I put quotes around it, a big leaguer. He came into the locker room, came into camp, and hit 197 in 36 games and spent the rest of the year in AAA. That was that proverbial wake-up call we've been talking about on special and several occasions today. And this is what he's dealing with, by the way. That light and dark.
If it's difficult to watch on television at home, it's that much more difficult to try to see the baseball and hit it. It is not fun to be in the batter's box at this point of the game.
Inside to Roberts. But here locally anyway, a fan favorite, Ryan. The Giants are hoping to get their fans and get them excited watching back at home, and that's a good way to do it. Clean it up. J.J. Putz will come on looking to lock it down. The Brandons trying to get things going. It'll start with Brandon Belt. Baseball, presented by Chevrolet. J.J. Putz comes on looking to lock it down and earn his second save in as many days. The veteran right-hander, Michigan born and raised, saved 45 for a career year a season ago in his first year with the Diamondbacks. Did not convert 4 of the 49 attempts. Here's Brandon Belt. That one misses away. 1-0 the count to Belt. Top step, you bet. That's not the heart of the order. As a matter of fact, the setup man had to deal with the heart of the order. But yet Putz, if he closes it down, will get the save. He should share it with David Hernandez. Into the seats it goes.
This may not be the heart of the order, Darren, but Brandon Belt has swung the bat as well as anybody all of spring training. I know it's not spring anymore.
His last at bat was a solid at bat. Really a patient walk. He earned his way on. Former Texas Longhorn awaits. Pitch down and in from Putz. In spring, JJ, who's been at it for quite some time, broke into the big leagues in 2003, added a cut fastball. As Eric Burns told you, that's the pitch from a right-handed pitcher that will run into a lefty. Spoiled a rising fastball.
Trying to elevate on Brandon Belt. You saw him go inside, come right back with a fastball. You wonder if that split, that devastating split that J.J. Putz has, will be the next pitch of choice.
Shadows creep over. Swing and a miss, and down he goes. You asked for it. That was it. The split-fingered fastball. Here is today's Burger King. Smooth play of the game. I'll let you be the judge of it. Pablo Sandoval homers earlier in the ball game. Man in hand-to-hand. Cannonball! I guess he was smooth. It didn't fall.
I'm not kidding when I tell you that I got a call from a buddy of mine, Pokey, back home in Redwood City, telling me his cousin and all his friends were going to be out at the pool area today. I had no idea I would have to be commenting about them on the smooth play of the game.
Wow.
Incredible.
You were talking about Gregor Blanco, the speed. He earned a spot on this roster with his fabulous spring training. One of the newer look offensively Giants. Into the seats. Yeah, you talk about water and your buddies. How about you? The All-Star game a couple of years back. Speaking of splashdowns, who is that, Burns?
Oh, that's Bruin. Sent him to go after the ball, and he took off towards the Golden Gate Bridge. How did you people at Fox convince me to do that?
Yep. It's all me.
Incredible.
0-1 the count to Gregor Blanco. Breaking ball, dives down and in. 0-2 the count.
I was down here for a couple weeks, Darren, doing my radio show, and I actually got to sit in the dugout during the first inter-squad game the Giants had. Gregor Blanco hit the gap in right center field. It was an inside the park home run had Tim Flannery not held him up at third. I think they were probably a little worried about some sort of collision at the plate that early in an inter-squad game. He would have made it easily. Last night, a big at-bat, base hit late in the game to keep the Giants in it.
They're hoping lightning strikes twice in front of Brandon Crawford. Arizona last year was 28-16 in one-run games. Yet the Giants not far off at 33-22, both better than 600 winning percentages. 2-2. Spent last year in the minor leagues. I mean, truly had to have a big spring. Bruce Bochy liked what he saw. He last played in the major leagues with Kansas City in 2010 and Atlanta as well.
Jugador más valioso in Venezuela.
Split-fingered fastball, strike 3.
We're dealing with the shadows, a mid-90s fastball, and a split finger that completely drops off a ledge.
Brandon Crawford is 0 for 3. 0-1 to count. Ryan Roberts is 2 steps onto the grass at third, way in. Kirk Gibson hopes his squad will improve to 2-0. Goldschmidt to put the Diamondbacks are 2-0 as they look to defend their crown here in the year 2012. JJ puts the save, Daniel Hudson the victory, and for Bruce Bochy, his club in a 5-4 loss scores those 4 runs. And Eric Burns, very quickly, it's got to be frustrating. You mentioned they were 55-9 when they scored 4 or more last year. This year, Bochy's squad 0-2.
They actually had a meeting in spring training about that 55-9 number when they score 4 runs. They said, we just need to find ways to create offense any way we can. Well, they've scored 4 runs the first 2 games, yet 0-2.
Stunners, certainly great job, Eric Burns. It's been a lot of fun to talk baseball with all of you. That is all from Chase Field here in Phoenix, Arizona. The Diamondbacks are 2-0 to start the season, dropping the Giants to 0-2. Coming up next, we'll send it back to the MLB Network studios for post-game coverage, and we'll do so right after these messages. Take care, everyone. We're getting it out to the studios. Have a good rest of your day.